What's up, traders? Andrew O'Connell here with Pristine Capital, coming at you with yet another market recap video. Let's talk about the markets today. Oh my gosh, we had a beautiful rally. Let's dive in to this madness. S&P 500, look at this. This is beautiful, up 2.7%. Our NASDAQ QQQ finished up 3.08%. Small caps were up 3.53%. Our dogs of the Dow were up 2.4%. And our ARK Innovation ETF, this bad boy finished up 4.16%. Had a very slow start, actually flipped negative in the beginning of the day, and then finished out strong. Pretty much every index finished at the very top of the day's range. We did have a volatility contraction across the board, and breadth finished out overwhelmingly positive. We had 94% advancers in the small caps, as well as overall 93.3% up volume, and my trend model flipped from a +1 to a +3, so no complaints here. Finviz heat map, bright green across the board. This is exactly what we want to see. Remember, yesterday we got that headline, and it said, hey, Apple is going to slow down their hiring, blah, 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 and pretty much the market opened yesterday, and we pretty much sold off into that headline. Well, now today, this was just an absolutely fantastic day, and our research has been foreshadowing this. I mean, we've been seeing that there's leading stocks that are moving to the upside. The price action has definitely changed, and we've noted that sentiment is overwhelmingly negative. Take a look at our sectors for the day. Our genomics ETF is in our top momentum slot. I mean, that's a tell in and of itself. Think about how long genomics and biotech have been in our top momentum slots. That typically does not happen when you're, just descending even deeper into a bear market. Remember, biotech was one of the first groups to top out when this bear market started about a year and a half ago. So the fact that it is actually now at the top of the list, that's even more evidence in the camp of investors that think the market could have actually bottomed. And I'm certainly in that camp, especially for the high growth, really high octane stocks. When everyone was just super scared, everyone was dumping them. And what's so funny is when those stocks were on the lows, people were citing overvaluation as a reason to sell them. When in reality, when you actually looked at those valuations, you could see that, hey, this is all getting incredibly cheap compared to where these things historically trade. Now, there's really no single spot of bright price action, because pretty much the whole board was. But you can see semiconductors were up 4.41%. Pretty good performance. Capital markets up pretty big as well. MSOS cannabis is now in the middle of our list. And our style factors. High beta finished up 4.2%. A nice little 420 action going on there. And we see growth stocks were up 2.94%. Now, in terms of my trading for today, there was no common stock trading, but I did trade an options contract. I actually closed out my UUP September 16th, 29 strike puts for 90 cents. I had paid 84 cents for those. This was actually me shorting the US dollar. And I wrote here, thanks for the lunch money, BDY. BDY is the OG of the Pristine Capital trading community. He's an awesome person in the group. He's got a lot of industry experience. He's a former floor trader. He used to trade in the treasury pit. And so he's just absolutely awesome. This was actually his trade idea. And that's why I wrote, thanks for the lunch money. It's kind of funny, on my entry here, I wrote, if I win this trade, I blame myself. If I lose, I blame BDY. But yeah, this was pretty cool. But to be honest, I'm not a currency trader. It really just looked like from the chart that the dollar was pretty overextended. So for this one, it's I'm not holding on to this thing for a bigger move. The dollar declined today, so I just popped right out of it. Other than that, I am holding on for dear life. I am hodling, team. I'm long a ton of options contracts. You guys know I have 99% long exposure. After closing out this position today, I'm at 97%. But yeah, I'm very heavily exposed to this market, which is great, because that means I don't have to be frantically searching for stock setups that are overextended now and panicking into stuff as it gets overbought and all that sort of stuff. Earnings, this is what we have on the plate for tomorrow. We have Tesla after the bell. That's a pretty big one. And I would say that's the main showstopper here. Today we did have Netflix report its earnings. And what's interesting is that these mega cap tech stocks, I think for this particular earnings season, they're really not as important as one would think. And the reason why is because none of these FANG stocks are really the names that are leading us off the lows. The FANG stocks are actually relative laggards. So for that reason, it's like, most of the stocks that I'm invested in or trading in right now, it's not like, their success hinges on Netflix. That's certainly not the case. But if you are watching the headline indices, these names are pretty heavy weights in those indices. Netflix actually broke out of value today, and then in the after hours, trading up a few percent, trading up to 220. That's almost a 10% move to the upside. The implied move by market makers today for Netflix was a plus or minus 14% move, so it looks like a nice win for the market makers. And Netflix actually reported, I believe it was like they beat on their earnings, but they missed on their sales. And that is another tell right there. Like the fact that companies are missing on their sales and they're rallying after should really tell you everything you need to know about the sentiment in the marketplace and the extent to which active managers, they're really just underexposed to the market. Now let's take a look at the headline indices, and then we'll also take a look at a few stocks. And yeah, appreciate you if you're watching this video. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Definitely hit the like button on the video. It's going to help with the YouTube algorithm. It is going to get this video to more viewers, and that's what's really going to keep me doing these videos. S&P 500. This is our hourly chart. Take a look here. This is our weekly value area. And now we've pushed outside of value. Let's go back to the daily chart. And this is what we've been talking about for the past couple of weeks. A test of the 50-day simple moving average, right? So now we're above the 20-day. Now we're above the 50-day as well. Are we going to get a test of this monthly value area high? It certainly seems likely. So that's why I held on to all my exposure today, because we're so close to that level that I think, it's very likely that we get there. At this point, it's pretty close. That's the S&P 500. Let's take a look at our NASDAQ. NASDAQ is up a smidge in the after hours. NASDAQ also pushing up to the top of the monthly value area. Russell 2000, this also same exact deal above the 50-day simple moving average and testing that top of value. And then the dogs of the Dow Jones, look here, Dow Jones actually tested the top of value, also above those short-term key moving averages. So yeah, I think most investors are probably still underweight. So that is why I held on to my exposure. Take a look at Enphase. This is one of my core holdings via options. And my short-term target for this stock is the 220 level. We're actually a stone's throw away. I must say, if we hit that level, I'm going to be tempted to keep the position on team because this stock has just been coiling so nicely. And it's had so many shakeouts. There have been plenty of times since I entered this position. I believe I entered it on one of these candles right over here. I believe I entered it on this one on May 9th, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, there's been plenty of times to just abandon ship. Oh my gosh, it's going nowhere. And now we're moving to the upside. Look at the volume on this candle right here, where we looked like we were going to slip into the abyss, ended up having a good result. But wait, what's this? But wait, there's more. The earnings come out on July 26th. So for that reason, I may end up trading out of this if it rallies into the print. But yeah, Enphase is looking pretty fantastic. We're seeing a lot of these healthcare stocks. They're breaking out. And for me personally, I do not buy stocks at these levels. I don't buy stock when it's extended from the 5-day EMA. If anything, I really think, maybe this candle was a good entry point. This one right here, off the retest of the 20-day simple moving average. Even if you're a Johnny come lately, maybe this candle right here. But yeah, I think this is the nature of the beast, and that's why most traders, they try to do this thing where it's like, well, the market's up today, so now that means I buy stock. And the market went down the next day, so that means I sell the stock that I bought. And that's just a very, very difficult game to play. I do end up sitting through more volatility by being more of a swing trader. But if you get your trade location right, then you don't have to worry about buying stocks as they become overextended because you're already long. So that is Humana. Let's take a look at a few others. Li Auto. I put this stock on, I believe it was on Friday. This stock did have a violation. Check this one out. You know, the Li Auto moved lower on high relative volume, ended up closing within this range it's been in, but it did not close above the 20-day simple moving average. So I held on to my position here, but this is definitely the first violation for this stock. And then take a look. Our crypto assets are actually doing a bit better as well. Hut 8 Mining, for example, up 15%, up to that 50-day simple moving average. What else do we have? Hut 8 Mining, we've got Mara. And I think a lot of punters are like going after these things, like after the 30% moves, of course. You know, don't buy it here, don't buy it here, don't buy it here, don't buy any of these candles. Just wait to get like a 30% candle that moves it up out of like a 3-month range and then go ahead and buy it. So I don't know, maybe it works. If these crypto assets really are bottoming, you know, that probably should work. But again, I just try to make sure that my trade locations are as proper as possible, because that's really how you align the probabilities in your favor. All right, let's take a look at one more stock. Let's look at Funko. This is another name that I currently have a position in. Let's look at Funko. Don't fight the funk. Yeah, Funko looking pretty decent, but we did see some selling on the tail end of this candle. So to be honest, in terms of like pruning the garden, this could be one that I pull out as well. We'll have to see how it acts tomorrow. But yeah, overall, market moved to the upside. Keep in mind, for the headline indices, we're trading up to the upper Bollinger Band for most of them, which is 2 standard deviations up from the 20-day simple moving average. So I want to make sure when the market's moving that aggressively to the upside, you know, that's where, if anything, like I might pull off some options contracts or something of that nature tomorrow. We'll have to see. Awesome that today ends up being a pretty solid trading day. It is always good when the thesis begins to play out. And let's end off by looking at this beautiful move in Bitcoin. Dun dun dun. So finally moving off the lows. But yeah, with that said, hope you all enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you all tomorrow.